What's up, everybody? I'm Simon Sabro, and today I got for y'all my January reading log. So before we get into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at SimonSabroYT. Link will always be down in the description. Also, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss an upload, all that good stuff. Also, make sure you comment down anything you've been reading recently. I definitely want to know what y'all been reading recently. Also, be sure to put down what's your thoughts on whatever you've been reading, just maybe a brief summary if you want to recommend it to me, anything like that whatsoever. But with all that out of the way, let's just jump right into it. Alright, so real quick, I did decide to just stick with the new intro, like by popular demand, because it seemed like a lot of people really enjoy that new intro more than the old one. Especially a lot of friends in my close circle kind of just told me, hey, just stick with this intro. So this is now going to be like officially the new, I guess, regular intro. But honestly, let's just kind of jump right into the list. First thing, we do have this new manga. I don't think it's like relatively new. I really don't know when it came out, but it's new to me, and that is Crueler Than Dead Volume 1. I did recently pick up volumes 1 and 2 in my most recent manga haul. And I have read only volume 1 so far, but it is a zombie manga, and it's honestly not that bad just off of the volume 1. There's 2 volumes to it total. And here's kind of just some of the art, and this is what really kind of got me into it. It's a really nice art style, and honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of like zombie stories. I say that, but I do have I Am a Hero and Zom 100, which are really good stories to me. But I did pick this one up, and honestly, I kind of enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. So honestly, really excited to check out the next volume. Overall, though, it was all right. Would I recommend it? I don't think I would. It's a decent little story. It is, like I said, only 2 volumes. So if you want to go and check it out, then definitely by all means go ahead and do so. It's not that big of an investment. But just off the first volume, I don't think I'd really recommend it. It's cool, but not that cool. I think I'd give it like a 5, 6 out of 10. It's all right so far. After that, we do have one that I've been waiting to read for over a year now, and that is Under Ninja Volume 1 by Kengo Hanazawa, which is the creator of I Am a Hero, one of my favorite manga. So this one was getting delayed for forever, and I finally did get my hands on it. And honestly, it is honestly really fun. I did enjoy the first volume a lot. Probably because it was like, I was really hyped for it anyway, so maybe I kind of tricked myself into enjoying it more than I should have. But basically, it's about kind of a world where ninjas are like really undercover. I know that's kind of obvious, but our main character is a ninja, but he's like a low-ranking ninja, and he gets this mission to kind of infiltrate a school, which didn't really get expanded on in this first volume at least. But I am really excited to see where it goes. It is by Kengo Hanazawa, so I expect it to be really amazing. And I think that the way Hanazawa kind of draws like motion in his characters is really like one of my favorite parts about his style. And so I think in this kind of ninja based manga, he does it really well, kind of just so far. And honestly, I'm really looking forward to like, yeah, how he just takes that style of drawing and kind of implements it into this. Like, here's an example of it. It's like, I don't know, something about it just feels so fluent, the way it's like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I've really enjoyed it so far. Just the first volume. I have no idea when volume 2 comes out. Hopefully it's not another year-long wait for that one. But Under Ninja, I don't think I'd say it was my favorite read for this month, but it's definitely up there. Really did enjoy it. Would recommend checking it out too. Now this one right here was my #1 favorite read. 10 out of 10, easy, best manga of all time, and that's Arrow Ninja Scrolls. If you've seen me ever talk about this, you would know that I'm not really able to talk about it. If you know, you know. But this manga is hilarious, and volume 4 was honestly the funniest volume so far. Let me see if I could find a page that I can actually show. Okay, this is decent. But like I always say, the art in this book is honestly really good. Both the art, if you know what I mean, are really good. And honestly, I've been enjoying it so far. It's really just funny to read. It's peak friction. It's definitely peak friction. But yeah, I really can't find another page to show, so I can't talk too much about it. If you are interested, definitely go and check it out. There's not much story in it. There's a lot more, action, if you know what I mean. But let's get on to the next manga. So this next one is Avant-Garde Yumiko. Now this is a manga by Shuzo Oshimi, and if you know, Shuzo Oshimi is one of my favorite mangaka, but this I believe is like one of his older works, so maybe like Devil Ecstasy time, something like that. And it does show it's definitely not the greatest Oshimi thing I've ever read. But it's about our main character, Yumiko, who's obsessed with the male genital. And yeah, she just really wants to see one, and she becomes very obsessed with it. So what happens is that she kind of goes to her school art club because she thinks they do like naked drawings. And so there's only one other member who's a guy, and so she wants to draw him naked so that she could see his you know what. And it's honestly really funny, but in a way that's like just weird, kind of funny. Like, can I show this? Yeah. Okay. So it's just funny. That's the best way that I could put it. Kind of just seeing this main character obsess over it so much and take it very seriously, and it's really weird. Honestly, I wouldn't really recommend checking it out. I think it is funny, but not like the funniest thing in the world. Like, it's funny in a, I don't know what kind of word to put with it, but if you're a fan of Shuzo Oshimi, you've probably already checked it out. If you've never heard of Shuzo Oshimi before, this is not the manga to start with for him, I'll be honest. But it is a funny one. And after that, we do have one more by Shuzo Oshimi, and that is Welcome Back Alice Volume 4. Now, this manga was, well, this volume was great, honestly. I really did enjoy this one a lot. I've really just been enjoying this series as a whole, honestly. And I'm really excited for the rest of volumes to come out. So, in this volume, Yo, the main character, is kind of just being strung along with everything. And I kind of feel bad for the character, but he's kind of just not the main character of his own life, and it really does show. But it's honestly just so interesting. Like, this is good Shuzo Oshimi work compared to Yumiko, and it's like the more psychological aspect. And honestly, this one I would definitely recommend over Yumiko any day. And I wouldn't even say this is like the best Oshimi work so far, but it is only 4 volumes so far. And honestly, it's really easy to get into. Definitely does touch on some very sensitive topics, which is honestly one of my favorite parts about Oshimi. And it is, oh, it is so good. And they introduced this new character that's pretty interesting. And I kind of have like a tear on the page, which is unfortunate. Kind of, I don't think you can see it on the camera, but it's right down here. But yeah, they introduced this new character here who I don't know how they're gonna like change the dynamic of, the main trio, but I do look forward to it. And speaking of the main trio, so the girl that Yo was in love with, some really interesting things happened towards the volume that I'm not really gonna say too much on, just in case you haven't read it yet. But if you have read it, then you know what I'm talking about. And volume 5 is gonna be such a banger, and I'm excited to read it and just continue on with this series. All right, so this next one that I am gonna talk about isn't really manga; it's more of a comic book, and that is Joker Killer Smile. So this one. Yeah, so this one is like my first ever comic book that I've really read. I don't think you can really see the spine here because of the glare, but it is the first comic book that I've ever like actually bought and read. And honestly, it was really enjoyable. So this is a slip cover. Let me just take this off so you can see the actual cover, which is honestly really cool. But basically it's about Joker, of course, and he's in Arkham Asylum, and there's like this therapist, or I guess psychology person, I'm not sure on what the proper term is here, who's trying to basically get into Joker's head and kind of make Joker a better person, understand Joker's mindset a little more. But as the story goes on, Joker is actually like breaking the therapist's mind instead, and it's honestly really interesting, and the art in here was honestly really good as well. I definitely wasn't expecting it, and I think all comic books are full color. I could be wrong on that, but seeing a book in full color was a really nice change of pace as well. But this, I was about to call it a manga. This comic book was honestly really interesting, especially because I do just love the Joker overall. But this book was honestly really good, and this page I really did love, because it just, you see all of the other like Batman villains, and it was just really cool. I don't know, I really did enjoy this. This was probably one of my favorite reads for this month, honestly, which was really surprising, especially like the imagery here. Warning, this is a fairly like graphic image that I am about to put on the screen, but I did warn you. But yeah, the imagery in it is honestly really good. For those that turned their heads away, the image is now gone, I promise. But honestly, yeah, it was just an overall really interesting read, especially just learning more about the Joker, just his character, the world of DC. It was honestly really interesting, really fun read. Go check it out. I know it's not manga, but go check it out. Only problem is this book was really uncomfortable to hold. I will admit that. But after that, we're kind of getting towards the bottom of what I read physically. I'm not really gonna touch up on any of the digital manga because I honestly have not been reading like any of the weekly Shonen Jump chapters. I did read the new series called Giganshi X, I think. Really briefly, it was okay. Just gonna throw that out there. It was okay. But after that, we do have, honestly, a series I didn't think I'd enjoy as much as I did, and that is Gigant Volume 9 and 10. Now, this manga, these were the last two volumes for it, and honestly, I really enjoyed the ending. I am gonna spoil it, so I do apologize if you haven't read it yet. But basically, what happens is Papiko, I guess, main heroine, the girl here with pink hair, she dies in a very odd way, or unfortunate would be the more proper term. And our main character, I think his name was Hero. I think that's the main character in Gantz. I could be wrong, but we'll call him Hero. Basically ends up with the ability to travel in time. So he kind of goes back in time and saves Papiko, but as a result, Papiko forgets who he is. And so what happens in the end is that he kind of, he's really like stuck between, should I be in this timeline where Papiko is alive but doesn't remember me, or be in the other timeline where Papiko is dead. And it was good, honestly, it was good. But what happens is that, oh, his name is Ray, not Hero, I'm sorry. His name is Ray. But what happens is that Ray kind of shoots a movie, like he becomes a movie director, because that was his original dream. And Papiko is still like a star, an adult star, but for his movie, he kind of cast Papiko as the main heroine and some random guy to play as Ray. And the movie is basically everything that happened from volume 1 up until recently. That's basically the movie that he does. And as they're filming the movie, Papiko starts like get deja vu, like, hey, I've done this before. And it is so good. Just that ending was honestly beautiful, and I really enjoyed it. And then what happens in the very end is that Papiko like remembers, and it is so good, honestly. Like, I was not expecting to have such a good ending for it, and I honestly thought it was really cool, really sweet. I loved it. And I won't say the story overall is that good, but the way that it ended was definitely like an amazing ending, to me at least. And it was just so good. I'm not even gonna lie. And just thinking about it, just it pulls my heartstrings a bit. But yeah, that is Gigant 9 and 10. Now, we do have two more things to go over real quick. And the one I am going to talk about first is Call of the Night Volume 10. I did save this one like towards the end because I know this is like a much more popular series compared to everything else. And I didn't really want to spoil it for the people that, you know, maybe haven't read it yet but want to read it. So did save this towards the end. But for one, let's just start. The volume cover, crazy as usual. I honestly do love it. My boy Cole looking cool. But Honestly, this volume was great. I think volume 9 was probably one of like the best volumes ever, and this was like a conclusion for the arc, and I think it was really good. I know I said I saved it towards the end so I don't spoil it, but I still kind of don't really want to spoil it. I think it's something that you kind of just gotta read on your own. Honestly, I think it is one of those that you just gotta read on your own. And as much as I would love to talk about it, maybe in the comments if you want to talk about it, we could talk about it. But I really don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't read it yet. But it is so, so good. And go read Call of the Night. Promise, it's amazing. But the last thing is Goodnight Pun Pun, Volume 2. Now, I have been reading this very slowly. Last month, I did read Volume 1. This month, Volume 2. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll do a volume a month. That seems kind of slow, but it is a lot to read. Like, these books are huge. I gotta read a lot of stuff. And this one gave me a lot of appreciation for Pun Pun's uncle. I forgot his name, but it really kind of like makes his character arc in this volume, and it is so good. I loved it. And not to mention, Pun Pun as a character is just hilarious. I said this last time, but like the facial expressions from the Pun Pun family or Punyama family is just so funny to me. And his uncle does it a lot, and it's funny. But honestly, this volume was really good. What happened was like the main things that kind of stuck out to me was like this badminton match between, well, not between, but there was a bet on the match between Pun Pun and this other guy, and whoever wins gets to keep this girl, Miko, I think her name was, Maiko, something like that. They get to have her. And what happens is that Pun Pun basically wins the bet, but it's that's not even what I care about. Pun Pun's uncle was just, that story was something else. I ain't even gonna lie. Pun Pun's uncle, and see, here's what I mean with his facial expressions. It is just hilarious. And even though his character arc was really serious, the way the Punyama family is drawn makes me like not able to take it serious for real. But honestly, it's so good when you find out more about his character. And as always, I have to say this with Inyo Sano, his art is phenomenal. It is great. But you see, this is a serious moment, but because of Pun Pun's design, I can't take it that serious, but it's still really cool. You know what I'm saying? Honestly though, Pun Pun so far is honestly a really good manga. I am only 2 volumes in. I have not started reading volume 3 yet, but so far it is honestly really good. But yeah, here's just another example, once again from his uncle. Like, it's a very serious moment, and just his facial expression just gets to me every time. But that's pretty much all I've read. Like I said, I have not really been keeping up with any digital manga as of recently, but make sure you comment down anything you've been reading as of recently. Definitely go and comment that down. Once again, follow me on Instagram at SimonSabroYT. Link will always be down in the description. Also, be sure to leave that like, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss an upload. All of that good stuff. And that's really it for me. Thank you all so much for watching, especially if you got to the end of the video. I greatly appreciate it. But that's all for me. This is Simon Sabro signing out. I catch you on the next one.